13. Gartheniel held the box out to each of the 5 members of the group. Mirthendir took a ring and slipped it onto the ring finger of his right hand without hesitation. Ovrim eyed his platinum band with suspicion before slipping it on. Tifila examined hers with interest, and Gryph suspected that she was trying to identify its properties. Gryph had been unaware of just how powerful his ability to identify any object was. It was just another wondrous power granted to him by the Godhead. Tifila, satisfied with her examination, slipped the ring on her own finger. Wick just scowled at it, holding it as far from his body as he could, as if it were some kind of poisonous insect. The steward stopped in front of Gryph, and his gaze was firm and steady. Gryph picked up the last ring. Gryph slipped the ring on, and it adjusted its size to fit.
These are the rings of binding fellowship. They are mystic bands used in the days of old to bind a group of people to a common purpose. Vows taken and accepted under the aegis of the bands will become binding. Failure to abide by the terms of the vow can lead to discomfort, pain, sickness, and even death. You will swear this vow under the leadership of Mirthendir, son of Lassendir, and you will join his adventure party. Do you understand?
One by one, the members of the group nodded that they understood. Wick glowered at Gryph for several heartbeats before grudgingly nodding himself. You have been invited to join Mirthendir's adventure party. Do you accept? Yes, no. One by one, they all accepted. Even Wick barely grumbled. You have accepted an invitation to an adventure party while wearing rings of binding fellowship. The adventure party is upgraded to a fellowship. It doubles all boons granted by the adventure party leader in potency and duration. You have been granted the Boon 1 Lore Boost. Knowledge is the key to power. Lore Boost grants you a short-term connection to the Sea of Knowledge. This connection will increase the level of any one skill by 1 level for the duration of the adventure party. Fellowship bonus. Temporary increase is now 2 levels. Note: temporary skill boosts do not affect tier level. Well, that is amazing, Gryph thought, and wondered if he could finagle keeping the rings after this current mission was over. Lore boost was a badass boon, although he had no idea what the hell the Sea of Knowledge was. Gryph opened his skill sheets and tagged Spears Staves, and his level jumped to 15. It upped his attack speed by 10% and his damage and chance to hit by an additional 4% each. It didn't sound like much, but Gryph had seen enough combat in his life, many lives if his soul reverie was legit, to know fate often turned on the slimmest of margins. Gartheniel waited for everyone to choose their bonus, and then spoke again.
While I trust Celendriel with every fiber of my being, her visions are not always easy to decipher.
The steward cast a sideways glance at Mirthendir, and Gryph saw the muscles of the Prince Regent's jaw tighten.
She has seen glimpses of a possible future, and I hope her visions come to pass. I hope that your presence, your actions, will help ensure our safety in these uncertain times. However, I am a man who likes certainty, even when I know it cannot be promised. So, To ensure you are trustworthy and to ease my mind, you will all swear a vow. These rings will bind you to a common purpose. If you stay true to the words you will soon swear to, then you will be rewarded. If you fail, then your lives are forfeit under the law, though it is unlikely that you'd resist the negative effects of breaking the vow long enough to see justice.
Wick grumbled and tried to pull the ring from his finger, but it would not budge. Gartheniel gave him a look of disapproval, and Tifila elbowed him in the ribs. Wick scowled at her, before noticing the half-elf's glare, and, despite the gnome's anger, a guilty look crossed his face, and he stopped tugging on the ring.
Now, bring your right fist to your hearts and repeat after me.
All 5 of them did as bidden. Gryph felt a wave of warmth flow from the ring and into his hand. It swirled around his wrist and flowed up his arm, then into his chest and to the rest of his body. It felt like settling into a hot bath after a hard day's physical labor.
I, your name, swear to hold faith with the other members of this fellowship. I vow to do all that is in my power to prevent the dwellers in the dark from using any power found in the city of Dar Thorim for an ill purpose, whatever that purpose may be. I vow I will support the members of this fellowship with my weapons, my magic, my skills, and my life in all the ways I am able. I vow I shall hold faith with Mirthandir, the leader of this fellowship, for as long as he holds faith with me. I vow that my word is my bond, and that the words I now speak are true and honest.
They all repeated the vow, and the sense of warmth became a chill that flashed up from the ring and into Gryph's chest, where it seemed to grip his heart in an icy embrace. He closed his eyes and bent over with a grunt of pain, and heard the other 4 do the same. When he opened them again, the pain had abated, and the jewel on the ring flared a brilliant blue-white, and then faded. Gryph used his identify talent. You have been awarded a Ring of Binding Fellowship. This ring is a powerful magic item that helps ensure trustworthiness and fellowship in an adventure party that may otherwise lack such fidelity. Any vow sworn to while wearing this ring becomes binding. Stay true to your vow, and you will be rewarded with the following buffs. Break the vow, and you will suffer from the following debuffs. Powers. All adventure parties are upgraded to fellowships, plus 200% potency and duration of all boons granted by the fellowship leader. Buffs. Buff 1, plus 25% to health, stamina, mana, and spirit regeneration. Buff 2, 1 full heal per day. Buff 3, plus 20% to the likeliness of achieving a critical hit against any foe that opposes the mission of the Fellowship. Buff 4, plus 1 to each attribute. Debuffs. Debuff 1, minus 50% to health, stamina, mana, and spirit regeneration until the vow is honored. Debuff 2, health, stamina, mana, and spirit reduced by 50%. Debuff 3, minus 50% to hit. Debuff 4, you are afflicted by Traitor's Rot, a mystical disease that will lower all of your attributes by 1 point per hour. If any attribute reaches 0, you will die. Reward. Upon the successful completion of the fellowship, a reward may be granted by the vow taker. Gryph's eyes went wide in shock. The buffs were amazing, but the debuffs were terrifying. "This will end badly," Wick muttered under his breath.
"Only if you are a liar,"
Gartheniel countered.
"Stay true to your word, and great rewards will be yours."
A young male elf walked up and handed each of the members of the fellowship a small pouch.
"As a token of our appreciation for taking on this task, please accept these potions. May they serve you well in the coming trials."
Gryph opened the pouch to see 3 potions of healing, 3 potions of stamina, and 3 potions of mana. Another, smaller vial he had never seen before also lay in the pouch. "You have been awarded an elixir of mastery. Drinking this elixir will grant you a 25% bonus to all XP gained for 24 hours. It will also grant a 50% experience bonus to any one skill for 24 hours. Hold the name of the skill in the mind while drinking the elixir." Everyone murmured at the amazing power of the elixir of mastery, and the steward nodded.
"These elixirs are incredibly rare and powerful. Use them wisely."
The group nodded their appreciation and made final preparations to leave. The steward walked up to Gryph.
"May I have a word with you in private?"
Gryph nodded, and the steward led him away from the others. The man hesitated, as if he were trying to figure out how to discuss a difficult and painful topic. "How can I help you, steward?" Gryph asked. For several moments, the half-elf seemed deep in thought, before looking up at Gryph.
"I need you to give me your word. You'll do all you can to protect Mirthandir, especially from himself. He is a capable warrior and a master of secret knowledge, but he is rash and will sacrifice himself for the greater good."
Gartheniel paused and looked at his soon-to-be liege lord, and then back to Gryph.
"You cannot allow him to put himself in undue danger. He is regent now, regardless of what law and tradition states, and Sylvan Anor needs him, especially if what the adjudicator tells us is true. Word will soon spread, if it hasn't already, that the High King will never return to us."
The smaller half-elf gripped Gryph's forearms tightly.
"If I could, I would add this personal vow to the rings of binding fellowship, but they do not work in such a manner. So I ask this as a man who cares very much for those under his care."
Both men glanced at Mirthandir again, as the tall elf lord joked with the others, even eliciting a small smile from Wick. Pride mixed with worry on the steward's face.
"But I know that without Mirthandir, we will be lost. Will you help me help him?"
"I will do my best, Gartheniel. You have my word," Gryph said, and gripped the shorter man by the shoulder.
"That is all a man can ask of anyone."
He looked at Mirthandir once more, and then smiled up at Gryph.
"Let's get you down to the quay. It is time you crossed the deep water. who knows how much of a head start the dwellers in the dark have on you?